Hey everyone, this is Chinmay. In this video, I'm just going to write a Golang backend using Firebase, where we are just going to handle authentication in this particular session. And this type of authentication works like on the backend. Like in this session, basically, we are not going to save any user in the DB, but all we need to do is just to set up a backend, so we can send ID token from front end to the backend, and then backend can use that ID token using Firebase SDK for the same project, and then can authenticate any upcoming any coming API request. But what you can do in a more advanced way, that you can just your client sign up using email and password, then you get a ID token, send that to the backend along with user information. Backend authenticate that token with Firebase admin SDK and save your user to the to DB and return a response. But in this case, what we are in this video, what we are going to do, we are just going to sign up. We are just going to write a Golang backend where a client can send a token and can access APIs. Okay, we are skipping that database solo part that we can do in some other video, or you can take it as a task. You can take that as a task. Okay, so let's start. First, we are going to create a folder structure. So we're gonna okay, I'm not going to create any folder structure. I'm just going to put all the files in the root directory for the for ease. So let's create a new file, main.go. Okay, we already have a file main.go. So next we need to create Firebase.go, and one more file we need to create Firebase.json. In this JSON file, here you need to put JSON data you received from Firebase after creating a project. Okay, so that you need to put here. Then you need to create the auth handler. So you're going to create an auth handler. Then you have to have a auth middleware. Then we have to have a, let's say, auth service. And of course we need to have we can have a model, so like data model, so we are going like user, which you can later use for saving your user coming from the front end to the database. Okay, so let's start with the main file. Our main file, okay, we need to install few libraries, like okay, I think I just import them, and your this ID will be installing them by itself. So we need, in this case we are just using Gorilla to make a router, and then we also using github.com course. So let's install these two first. Okay, so in main file basically we need to initialize Firebase. So in order to initialize Firebase, first of all let's update the firebase.go file. Okay, there's the first file we should update. So let's create Firebase config, or like Firebase app struct, and then let's do app dot firebase app. And why it is giving me some error? Because we need to import it first. firebase.google.com go / and we need one more thing, which is firebase.google.com /go /v4/auth, and we need one more library, google dot golang dot api dot option. So let's install all of them with the help of IDE. Okay, so it will install them. Meanwhile, what we can do, we do auth and then auth.client and client. Okay, so let's create a function called init Firebase app, having taking pointer to the Firebase app and returning an error. Sorry, taking nothing but returning point to the Firebase app or an error. So here we are having option dot with credential file. So here you need to put the path of your Firebase .json, and it is in the root directory, or the same directory as in which we are having our firebase.go. So it should be like this. Then Firebase dot new app context dot background nil and out. I need to import the context. Okay, if there is an error, handle that error, and to handle we're going to do fatal error initializing app and then just print it out. Do this. Next we need to do create an auth context dot background, and yeah, and if there is an error, then handle that error and error initializing auth. Fine, and then finally return reference to the Firebase app with app and auth and then nil. Why is there auth? Yeah, I think we can do like this. Yeah. Okay, so this is our Firebase dot app. This is our init Firebase app. Now I think we can write our main.go. So let's start writing our main.go file. Our main.go file, first of all, we have to have a Firebase app. An error is firebase.new app. Ah, no. Oh, what was that? A new feature unlocked in Vim. Firebase app error, we have to config dot init Firebase. I think it's Firebase app, not Firebase. Why? No, not that config. No. I think I just need to wait, do one thing. Put it in config. Take the file, put it here. Take this file also, put it here. Come to the main go. Okay, now it's fine. I think keeping them in their respective packages better. Error nil log fatal. We need to print the error, so we can say fail to initialize Firebase app, and here is the error. Okay. Now what we need to do? Now we just do auth service. Okay, now we need to initialize some services, and for that we have to have a service. So let's write the service file first. For that, what we can do, just create a service folder and put auth service to that. And now the auth service, let's start writing auth service now. So basically auth service, we need to have a method which we can use to fetch data as user profile or something. Interface firebase dot config dot firebase app. Why? What do you mean? Service struct, not interface. Okay, so func new auth service firebase app and it's written auth service, take Firebase, and it's written reference to auth service, and also written Firebase, what you can use. No, yeah, it should written Firebase, I think. Why there is an error? It should return Firebase because we need to import firebase.google.com.o before auth. Now auth service is handling config.firebase app, which is coming from here. So in our case, it should not like this. Config.firebase app. Let's return this. Why? New auth service firebase.config. Firebase when return auth service, then yeah, it should return. No, it's fine. Recently I'm having a lot of issues while importing things properly. But in this case, we don't need a login out. So having auth service, we need the only route in this video, we need just to get user profile and verify token. So we need verified token. Context, and of course in order to confirm a token we need a token of type string, and then what we return is auth dot token and error. Need to import it. Okay, so in order to verifying token, if id token is nil, then return nil, and errors just new that id token is empty. So like please provide a token. Otherwise we just like try to decode a token, and to decode a token we'll doing as dot firebase dot auth dot verify id token, pass the context, pass the token, check for the error. If there is some error, then we can print empty dot println Firebase token verification failed. Not there. I think I should just like, yeah, return nil and fmt dot error f Firebase token verification failed, and just pass the, I think we can say invalid token. We can say invalid token and then error. Okay. If the token is okay, then if decoded token is equals to nil, then we can say just nickel nil, and wait, just say that if token is nil, then first of all return nil, and then say your token verification return nil token, or return nil basically. If everything goes smoothly, like there is no problem, then fmt dot printf, then we can say like your Firebase token, or like token verified for the user, and here you can decoded token dot uid, not the subject, and then return token and nil. That's how you can verify token. Okay, remember that we should not verify token with a custom made thing, but we have to verify token with with the Firebase auth thing. Okay, the Firebase auth verified ID token function. That's how we should verify it, but not the other way around. Like the way we create, like if we were to, we will create a token, so we don't need to do that. Okay, now we need to write simple function which can get profile for the user. So that is as struct method get user profile, need context, okay, string model. Okay, we don't have a model now. Models dot user error. So this in order to get user record as dot firebase dot auth dot get user and pass the context and the ID. If error is not equals to nil, then first of all return nil. Then fmt dot error, error getting user record or user profile in our case, and just print the error in verbose mode. If that's fine, if you pass that, then just return models dot user and uid user record dot uid and email user record email. Fine. So next step is to create models folder or the package models user.go. Fine. Now if we create the user here, so we can do type user struct and you create uid string JSON uid. Okay, then you create email and then you create password, but this time then we can do it omit empty, like optional. Okay, that's how we can create user model. Now if you go back to that file, you can see that error is gone. Okay, so we are done with the auth service user and auth and handler. I think no handler, just service user Firebase and not main. Okay, so now let's create a handler. Create a package handlers and then create an auth handler file to that package. Now let's update the auth handler now. So while updating the auth handler, create the auth handler struct, and we need to do here auth service services dot auth service, and we have service, not services. Then we have func new auth handler. It's like a constructor in this case. I mean it is similar to constructor, not a constructor because we don't have constructor in Golang. services dot auth service. Let's return an auth handler. Let's return auth handler, and there we need to pass auth service. So now the only handler in this video we need is the get profile handler. Func add get profile and w, just like response writer, and the response request. Now we just need to get the token first, and r dot context dot value, and here we need to do something. Wait, let's create a folder called middleware, and this is like way to get the to work with the context in Golang. And here, like, let's create a file called context keys.go. In this context keys.go file, put context key, is a type of string, and constant auth user key equals to context key equal to authenticated user. Do it this way. Now go back here. Now here you can do update on value. With the middleware dot auth user key dot auth token. You can okay, so basically what we are doing is get the token from the context using a defined key. So we are just like token from the context using a defined key. If not okay, if not okay, you just need to HTTP error, just say internal server error, and HTTP dot status internal server error, and you can close the request. Now you can just say like use the token to get profile. So user profile and error as dot auth service dot get user profile, which needs a context. So r dot context token dot uid, not, you just need to uid of course, token dot uid. Okay, if error is not equal to nil, again you can just copy paste js, HTTP error, failed to get user profile, failed get user profile, and return. And if everything goes smooth, w.header .set content type application JSON dot new encoder, because we need to encode for the response writer and encode the user profile into a JSON format. So get profile method is what it's doing. This is just getting token from the context, like from the middleware, and then sending that token to the Firebase via service, and then getting it. So we are now with the auth. handler as well. Now create the auth middleware. Put that file here. I think this is probably our last file. So here basically we need to create type auth middleware struct auth service service.auth service func new auth middleware accepting a service and returning a middleware, pointer to middleware, return this. I think fine. Let's create a new function, struct function auth middleware, and this will be authenticate. This is a, here we are writing middleware, okay. It's accept an HTTP handler and return an HTTP handler. That's how middleware works in Golang, okay. So to do that completely, just return an HTTP handler function which further take a function http dot response writer and response request, and in that basically trying to get an auth header, the r dot header dot get should be authorization header, and if auth header is empty, http error w dot authorization header is empty, or the required, whatever you want to say. HTTP should unauthorized. Okay. If that doesn't have any problem, then you can say token parts, because we need to split the token from the auth header with a split method on string. Token parts, if length of token parts is not equals to 2, or token parts of the first index of token parts is not equal to bearer. In both the cases, we have an error. Format is invalid. Okay. If that pass, now we can do one thing: decoded token of error and dot auth service dot not decode but the verify. No, this auto completion is not good. R dot context and token parts first the second indices, second index basically. Check for the error is if there is an error, then unauthorized and return context dot with value of r dot context dot auth user key and decoded token. Next dot server HTTP with the request writer and the writer and the request responder with the context. So this is our middleware function. So what we are doing here, we are just extracting token, verifying it, and then if everything is fine, then we are allowing the method to like go forward. Now we are passing the request like as an authenticated request. Now because now we are having everything, handler and all. Now we can go to the main file and can write and start writing our main file. So our main file looks like this. So we need to have auth service. Firebase. No. It's not. It should be service.new auth service. We should be having auth handler. So should be handler.new auth handler, which takes auth service. And then we should have auth middleware, which takes middleware dot new auth middleware takes auth service. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I think that will work. So now let's do one thing. Create a router, set up a router, mux. You don't need to create that, so we can do if you want to create a public router, you can do this. Do it like public router dot path prefix public, okay, and then sub router. So if your route is having a prefix public, it will allow you to access the public routes. But we don't have any in this case, we can comment it out. But what we have is protected route. Router dot path prefix API, maybe, and subrouter, then protected router dot use that auth middleware dot authenticate method. Okay, so now what you can do, now you can handle your protected route. So protected router dot handle func maybe auth, like profile auth handler dot get profile method, get method to this route, and this can allow you to handle authenticated route, which is auth profile in this case. So now you need to set course option if you want. Course option will work like course.option allow origin, then here you can do string all, allow methods, for now you can say all, then allow headers, and put authorization as well, otherwise you won't be able to authorize. And then you have exposed header, which you can ignore, but a default setting you can do this. Okay, allow credentials true, and max age is 30. And like for the pre-flight request code, basically nothing else. So this is a basic default code setting. Default codes configuration. Okay. Create a handler dot course dot new course option handler per perfect, no problem. Server port, you can give whatever port you want to give, but I'm giving 8080. Starting server on port 8080. And then finally start server, HTTP listen. And yeah, if you want, you can start server using Go routine. So we will handle that maybe in some next video. There is a way to start a server using Go routine. I will cover that in next or another video. Fine. So I think now I have everything, so we can just try to run the server. And okay, basically right now you might get an error because you are not having the Firebase.json, and I cannot show you mine one because I don't want to create another Firebase project because I am working on that. So okay, I can just cut that part here. If I put my Firebase.json, and try to run your server now, it should work without an error. And if there is an error, we'll try to solve it. You cannot read credentials, fine. Because you are calling this from the main file. So from the main file perspective, it should be inside the config. That's I need to change the path. Okay, we are starting server on the port 8080. Now if you try Postman and make it get request to the API auth profile, just API profile without any token, you should get authorization header is empty, and if you give a token, then should get invalid token and Firebase token verification failed. Okay, and we don't have a token, so you should get month of 401. And if you don't put like a, if you put this way, it should be invalid, and if you don't put it, you should get header is empty, and if you don't give any header, the header is empty. Yeah, so that's how it's working. Your server is not crashing and it's working fine. I will put the GitHub repository in the description. You can check it from there if you want the code, but I highly recommend to write the code by yourself, starting from the start, watching my videos. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.